we should now move on to the defending champions. And
And the theme, which makes no sense, but still makes a lot of sense. So we're of course talking
and they
about
began
Gujarat.
and they began their auction with that kind of a buy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and not
went
just
for
that. There is one
Wilson.
key player I really want to know Dan's thoughts on, because I'm sure he would have analyzed him as well. We will come to that. We're talking about Gujarat Titans, yeah, Dan, and clearly their approach was pretty different to what you preach. Their overall batting was of the wicket preservation mindset, but they did well on the bowling front and sort of covered their the delta and ended up having a positive boundary percentage record, if I'm correct. But your thoughts on their auction?
Yeah, look, I think that last year we saw that they were such a stability-orientated batting lineup, as you say, Somesh, that they were maybe the opposite approach to the one that I advocate. And I wondered if it was by accident or design. I think it's very difficult sometimes to work that out in year one when there's a complete revamp of squads and stuff. The fact that they went straight in and bought Kane Williamson in lot number one shows that maybe it is more by design than accident that they've gone for this kind of very stability-orientated approach. Now, I do think that Kane Williamson's now, the current version of Kane Williamson has so much to prove as to being even an average IPL player right now. I mean, the strike rates in very recent tournaments or World Cups as well just really just don't show any confidence that he's going to contribute in a positive expected value manner at all. And that's, I mean, they said they were going to prepare to pay more for him. I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't know what you guys think about that, because you know it's for me it was just baffling. And they didn't do anything to kind of go down that intent merchant route at all, with Karis Barat as well coming in, and you know he's a solid player, but he's not easily he's a 130, 135 strike rate player rather than a real out and out hitter. So they didn't look to change they haven't looked to change what they did in year one. And like I say, I think that's looking like it's more by design than accident. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested. Yeah, as I say, I'm interested to hear what you guys think about Williamson in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep on mentioning that name that I've mentioned once before as well. I think once today and quite a few times before in the earlier videos. I mean, instead of Kane Williamson, might as well spend that money on Will Smith. I mean, at least you have someone for the future. And I don't see Williamson in the starting 11 anyway. The other player that I'm always baffled by in the number of bids that he receives. Okay, yeah. Before we move to that player, let's hear from Gurkirat. Yeah.
Another factor with the Will Smith kind of a buy is that he's already given up first class cricket. So
Yeah.
there is no factor of him skipping the IPL to play first class cricket, to maybe make himself available for the Ashes. He's already given up first class cricket.
Yeah. The other player that baffles me every time I see a lot of teams bid on him is Shivam Mavi. Dan, do you know something that maybe I don't, or even Gurkirat maybe? I mean, enlighten me. That there are players like Sandeep Sharma and Ishan Puralev who went unsold, and here we have a bidding war for Shivam Mavi year after year.
I think it's got to do with a few things. One is the sort of the hype from when he was a lot younger, say under 19 level, and also the fact that there's such a scarcity of resources in terms of domestic pacers, or if you want to bracket it a bit more specifically, domestic pacers who people think have a fairly high ceiling. I guess I can see it from that perspective. And this is why I go back. I know it's obviously very domestic dynamic. But this is why I think that Lockie Ferguson will still have gone for quite a lot in an auction, because there's just not the resources out there to expect that you're going to get bargains in the premium pacer market or the semi-premium pacer market. And we've also saw that, I think, here with Josh Little as well. I mean, Josh Little was someone who's impressed me so much this year. Like, I was really I watched him play T10 quite a lot last winter, and I felt that he had a lot of work still to do. But this year he's really kicked on. But even so, that 4.4 crore first IPL tournament for a guy who's doesn't really play against good teams on a regular basis for his national team. That shows you again. That's the market.
So
I have one point to make before I leave, and I am sorry that I have to leave just 4 or 5 minutes before we end. I think they have pretty much a backup for every position except for maybe Hardik's. Even for Rashid Khan, they do have another Afghanistan left arm
Noor
spinner
Ahmed,
in Noor
yeah.
Ahmed, who was there last time as well. Uh, I think that despite them winning the title last time, their combination wasn't ideal. You can't have Rashid at 7. I think Rashid at 7 is a spot too high. So is Tewatia at 6. I hope that they do play an extra batter and then bring in their bowlers as an impact player.
Yeah.
Also, I think if say Miller is not fit, not available, or has poor form, then they can also move someone like Wade from number 3 or number 4 to the position of David Miller. And on this note, I'd like to take the leave of both of you and our viewers. I'm really sorry, guys, that I have to leave. Something has just come up, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And those who are watching, just please press the like button and share it with your friends who are IPL fanatics or IPL fans, and do subscribe to the channel.
Thanks, Gurkirat. So, Dan, before we sort of end this show, I just have one last question to ask you regarding GT, and this is something that has come that I thought about as well. We keep on discussing about how Pakistan's team is structured, where they don't hit a lot of boundaries, but they prevent a lot of boundaries as well. Do you think do you see some similarities, as Anirudh goes on to ask?
Yeah, I think that that's the design that they've tried to go down, the template, if you like, that they're trying to adopt. Look, that's definitely always possible when you've got Rashid Khan in your team. I think Saika Shaw's domestic numbers are magnificent in terms of boundary prevention as well. Joseph is, I think, but unproven still at this level. Shami is decent but not spectacular. So look, I think that they have something to do still in that area. I don't see that they have the overall level of bowling quality that Pakistan have, but I definitely agree with Anurad's kind of broad point on that template for sure. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how their bowlers perform. I think it's going to be absolutely key for them. And also, I think how teams will adapt to their strategy. So year one, it's you can understand that they've gone for a fairly cautious batting strategy, one that's in the end has won them a lot of fine margins of volatile situations where the game could easily have gone the way of the opposition. There was probably 5 or 6 instances of that happening, and it's difficult to sustain that. I look at the batting and I think it's not great. It doesn't really inspire me. But you can never write off a team with Rashid Khan in it as well at the same time. Look, I said last year, if it was a 38-game season like the English Premier League in football, I don't think they'd have qualified. I'll stand by that. I think that they might get if teams are efficient and they plan better. It's becoming more obvious now that this is GT's modus operandi, if you like. They plan better and combat that. I think they could struggle.
So Dan, just before we go, I know I asked you ahead of the show to rate all the squads. Maybe if you're ready.
All right. Okay. I think I'm gonna go. Do we go bottom? Okay. Okay. What? I'm gonna go RR first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go. Heart overhead. Punjab in second with Sam Curran making a massive difference. I think that LSG have recruited pretty well, and I can see them coming in the top 4 as well. And then I think ultimately from there, I think it's really there's such a small gap between all the teams. I think that the DC, if they had a better auction, I would have really fancied them to bounce back, but they didn't. CSK, I'm not inspired by, but we know what CSK do, and Dhoni.
And they have the Dhoni touch.
Yeah, can we get another year of genius out of him? I've just kind of spoken about Gujarat and how I think variance is going to bite them back this year. KKR were I still think that they've kind of got a lot of work to do still in their recruitment perspective. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to change a lot from last year to this. Their batting. MI have got a team of ones rather than an 11. RCB still too reliant on marquee batters, and SRH have got a lot of catch-up work to do, but they might well do it because they want the better auctions. So yeah, I mean, look, I think RR, PBKs, LSG, 3 of the top 4. Everyone else fight for the rest of the other spots.
Awesome. So we have potentially 4 to 5 other teams fighting for that last spot in Dan's opinion. So Dan, thanks a lot for making time for this. This is our longest episode till date, but it was totally worth it. And thanks everyone who joined us. Please subscribe to the channel. Please forward it to your friends. Ask them to subscribe as well. And do download the cricket.com app. Like I said, we did a recent interview with Sandeep Sharma where he expressed his disappointment of not getting a bid, and you'd find more such pieces on the app and website. So do download, do share it with your friends. Dan, have a good day and a very happy new year to you and everyone who was with us today.
Thanks so much. It's been fantastic to do this, and happy new year to everybody, and we'll catch up soon.
Sure, cool. Bye-bye.